Hello, welcome to the Sutliffian Report. Today we have quite the show planned. We're going to discuss Jihad, Booty, and Jizya. But as this is a Christian show, we're going to start with remembering the reason for this coming Sunday. And what's tomorrow, many people call Good Friday. So we're going to do a reading from Matthew 26, verses 36 to 46. Then comes Jesus with, you know what? I'll even share this. Let's do that. Here we go. Then comes Jesus with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, Sit you here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then said he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry you here, and watch with me. And he went a little farther, and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will. And he comes unto the disciples, and finds them asleep, and said unto Peter, What, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, your will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then comes he to his disciples and said to them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that does betray me. Some may ask, how did Jesus' prayer get written down? If Peter, James, and John fell asleep, and Jesus had to wake them 3 times. The answer is sadly simple. When our minds and bodies are filled with stress and we express ourselves verbally to God, we often repeat that prayer over and over. We do not think about the repetition, only the need before us. A loved one who is on death's door that we want to live would have us praying repeatedly, Please, God, heal this person. Please, God, heal that person's body. Heal his or her body fully. Memories of what was said by others in such a prayer may also be of that one line because of that repetition. Jesus' prayer this night was different. He told his disciples that tonight things would happen. The stress for every one of them would have been at a peak. Sleep would be an escape. Add in that it was late for them, the repetitive prayer of Jesus seeking God the Father's will, and you have a perfect storm to cause sleep in your most trusted, your closest disciples. There are some who use this passage to claim Jesus cannot be God because he prayed. These same people don't understand the concept of the Trinity. They also do not recognize that these pleas show the humanity of Jesus. He was the perfect man. He showed us it is not wrong to cry and seek God's will, even when all seems against you. Jesus prayed his heart out. His tears poured out. His pleas seem selfish. But as you listen and reread these pleas, you hear submission of the God the Son to God the Father. You hear the human element of Jesus showing that he has real flesh and blood. You grasp that Jesus truly can relate to those of us in our lowest moments. Now, I think that pretty much says it all. We have a God that's willing to be there for us when we're at our lowest moments, and he truly gets it. And this is the week we celebrate both his death and resurrection. Protestants generally celebrate today as Monday, Thursday. They generally believe that Jesus died on Thursday night, and Catholics generally celebrate that on Fridays. Some Protestant churches celebrate that on Friday also. But what matters is not the day he died, but the day he resurrected, which was on Sunday morning. And that is the reason why Christians gather on Sundays. And amazingly still, we are going to still discuss jihad, booty, and jizya, the total opposites of a belief structure about love. Jihad is about killing. It's about hatred. It's about everything that opposes a God who loves. This is one of the reasons why you have to sit there and go, how can they even come up with the idea that this is the same thing? I mean, I'll be honest, I cannot figure out how they can do that. I don't understand why they can say we worship the same God. It makes absolutely zero sense. And that's important to grasp. Now, we're going to get into this. We'll be discussing jihad, booty, and jizya. Understand, nothing here about booty and jizya can be discussed without looking at jihad. Jihad, as was said last week in Shariah, is all about the war against the non-Muslim. All right, we're going to take a quick look here. I'll even go backwards and show it to you. Let me get my mouse over here. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Jihad. Here we go. Got the obligatory nation. War is decreed for you. All these nice, wonderful things. Jihad means to war against non-Muslims, etymologically derived from the word mujahada, signifying warfare to establish the religion. And the scriptural basis for jihad, prior to scholarly consensus, is such Quranic verses as fighting is prescribed for you. Slay them wherever you find them. Fight the idolaters utterly. Notice that it is spread throughout the Quran. That's 216, 489, and 936. It's continually throughout the Quran. Start thinking about this. This is the stuff you have to have in order to get to the rest. We're going to make this, and I got to get the mouse in the right spot again. Here we go. And here we go. So today we're going to start on the spoils of battle. You only get the spoils of the battle, if you engage in the war. This was the promise Muhammad gave. If you engage in war, you get booty. And yes, it's quite literally what the modern usage of that word is. Booty. Yeah, females. You're going to get females. You're going to get sex slaves. Yes, that's considered part of the booty. All right. Anything that was on the warrior you slew, you got to keep. It would be his armor, whatever. And if you think I'm making this up, let's just read this. The spoils of battle. A free male. Oh, a free male. So wait a minute. They're also going to be talking about slaves. You would think so on the left, but they will never say it. A free male Muslim who has reached puberty and is sane is entitled to the spoils of battle when he has participated in a battle to the end of it. After personal booty, the collective spoils of battle are divided into 5 parts. The first fifth is set aside, and the remaining 4 are distributed. 1 share to each infantryman, 3 shares to each cavalryman, from the latter 4/5 also. A token payment is given at the leader's discretion to women, children, and non-Muslim participants on the Muslim side. A combatant only takes possession of his share of the spoils at the official division, or he may choose to waive his rights to it. Now, I don't know anybody be willing to give up their pay after engaging in war. Let's make it this simple. According to the Google Translate, it says spoils belongs to those who attended the battle until its end. All right. And this 5th, no one's talked about where that 5th goes. That goes to Mo. That goes to the Caliph, whoever's in charge of the battle. Oh, think about that. A fifth. That's 20%. It's a pretty hefty fee. So 20% of all the women caught go to him. So that's 20% of all the sex slaves. 20% of all the money found. 20% of all the jewels, all the precious items goes to one guy. And what is he supposed to do with it? Notice we don't see that. Let me just go back one here. It says from these latter 4/5, token payment is given at the leader's discretion to women, children, and non-Muslim participants. Really? Let's go over here to the right. Notice it said non-Muslim participants on the Muslim side. Let's go over here to the right again. The foot soldier gets a share. The horseman gets 3 shares if he's free. Oh, so the slave gets none. Did you catch that? Adult, Muslim, and sane male. Women, slaves, children, and infidels are given 4/5 of the spoils. Oh, they give slaves a little bit. Children get a little bit. Women get a little bit. And infidels, oh, you get 4/5 of the spoils. Wait a minute. You don't get a... This is where it gets funny. Islam doesn't understand math very well. If you're getting 4/5, yeah, that's 4/5 of a fifth. That's what we're getting at. All right, spoils are only owned by division or by choosing to own them. Yeah. Muhammad and his bad math went down to his Muslim children. Yes, it is bad. Let's keep going. 10.2. As for personal booty, anyone who, despite resistance, kills one of the enemy or effectively incapacitates him, risking his own life, thereby is entitled to whatever he can take from the enemy, meaning as much as he can take away with him in the battle, such as mount, so he can take the horse, he can take the saddle or anything there, clothes, weapons, money, or other. Okay, here we go on the Google Translate. If someone kills someone or prevents his evil, and the person killed is unharmed, and the killer takes a risk in killing him, he is entitled to his spoils. That is, whatever his blood contained in the incident, such as horse, clothing, weapons, expenses, and other things. Keep thinking this. And I don't like the term poll tax, Elizabeth, because we're going to get into it. I think that is a bad misuse of the word. And part of my reasoning is the concept of poll tax today has to do with elections. So this is one of the reasons I don't like that terminology. Modern terminology probably would misunderstand that whole concept. Jizya is a tax to allow you to continue to live. It is not a... So it's it's a payment. It's a bribe to be allowed to live another year. That's all it is. It's extortion money.
You know, you got a nice little family here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. You didn't pay me the jizya tax. Just say it. You know?
Yes. So we'll get into that, but it's definitely not a poll tax. It's extortion. All right, we're going to keep going here. 10.3. As for the first fifth that is taken from the spoils, it is divided in turn into 5 parts. A share each going to, okay, this is the first of 5 parts. Listen closely to where this first part goes. The prophet. So this would be going to Mo. And after his death, to such Islamic interest as for, okay, wait. The caliph should be there, right? Should be the next guy, right? After his death, to such Islamic interests as fortifying defenses on the frontiers, salaries for Islamic judges. Well, what happened to the caliph? Did the caliph get anything? Oh, the caliph pretends he's the prophet, okay? And he's supposed to make sure it goes to all these places. Relatives of the prophet. Relatives. Wait a minute. He didn't have any children. That really limits where things are going. Relatives. Okay, he has some relatives. Oh, that becomes more problematic when we think about it. Yeah. And they're picking the Bani Hashim, the Bani Mutalib clans, each male receiving the share of 2 females. Oh, we're passing out sex slaves now. Orphans who are poor, those short of money. We're going to be talking, where does this look like it comes from? This is even funnier. This is the places where zakat is supposed to go, except for this. Orphans who are poor. That's extremely interesting because Islam creates orphans who are poor by not allowing them to be adopted. And this becomes extremely problematic. These two get money for zakat, from zakat. So basically, Jihad is funding zakat, which also funds Jihad. It's a circular motion here. This is kind of scary in the long run. So travelers needing money. Do you need money if you're going on Jihad? Yeah. Okay. Oh, are we spending this money to support jihadis? Catching on? We got to send people overseas. We got to send them on a hijrah. What's the purpose of a hijrah? Jihad. Send those travelers needing money. Give them some money so they can start a business. They go overseas. They get the business started. Oh, well, we took money from booty, from Jihad, and now they're getting ready for a new Jihad. That's what this is. All right. It's pretty simply stated. It's in Sharia. I'm not making this up. It's here. All right. Look over here on the right. This is the Google Translate. And it says, as for the 5th, it's divided into 5 as well, an important share. Peace and blessings be upon him, which is spent after the death of the public interests, such as closing borders, the salaries of judges, muezzins, and alike share of relatives from Banu Hashim and Banu al-Mutalib, with the male receiving twice the share of the female. A share for the poor orphans, a share for the needy, a share for the wayfarer. Oh, you're only a wayfarer under Islamic law if you are giving of yourself to a hijrah, which you're only allowed to do under Islam if you're engaging in, you're planning on engaging in jihad. This is the insanity of this. Hello, Bravo from Papua. Nice. There we go. Let's share that with everybody. Okay. This is just a lot of good stuff here. It's interesting. Nobody's looking at the Sharia to find these answers. And we need to be doing this more and more often. Here we go. Let's keep going here. Now, a lot of Sharia is based on hadiths and the Quran. However, there are large portions of Sharia that are not based on any part. Now, we'll take the entire section of prayer. It's all made up. Doesn't have any basis whatsoever in the hadiths or the seerahs or the Quran. But this section, yes. Let's take a look. Sunan Abi Dawud in the book of Jihad. Abd Allah bin Amir reported that the apostle of Allah as saying, no warlike party will go out to fight in Allah's path and gain booty without getting beforehand 2/3 of their rewards, and in the next world, and 1/3 of their reward will remain. And if they do not gain booty, they will get their rewards in full. Wait a minute. Listen closely. Who's getting mocked here? Well, the 1/5 for charity, yeah. Let's stick on this. All right. 2/3 for the rewards in the next world, and 1/3 will remain. And their concept of charity is not the Christian concept. So charity is the wrong word to actually use, because they don't have the same belief as far as what charity means. Because charity is money they give to jihad. All right. That's zakat. That's what they call charity. It is not charity. It's by no means the same concept. All right. This is getting, and if they do not gain booty, they will gain their rewards in full. You've got to ask this question. What are they saying here? If you don't gain booty, you'll get your reward in full. What are they going to kill you? If you don't get, I mean, you were supposed to be out there fighting. If you didn't get any booty, how are you going to get your reward in full? That's your payment for engaging in war. You get nothing. All right. How about this one? Again, Sunan Abi Dawud. The messenger of Allah took out his 5th from the booty of Khaybar and divided the rest of it among those who attended the battle. So he took his 20% and he divides the remaining 80% among those who were away from it, but attended the expedition of Hudaybiyah. Okay. So he's distributing a portion of, I mean, take a look. He took out his 5th among those who attended the battle. You see how he's keeping that 20%? He's not using that. He's giving it to those who weren't there. All right. So he's even giving of the 80% to people who weren't at the battle. This is problematic because this verse contradicts the previous hadith. All right. But again, it's Hassan. But again, according to Islam, this is still good. All right. Sunan Abi Dawud again. When the messenger of Allah gained booty, he ordered Bilal to make public announcement. He made a public announcement, and when the people brought their booty, he would take a 5th and divide it. Now he's dividing his 5th. Thereafter, a man brought a halter of hair and said, Messenger of Allah, this is part of the booty we got. He asked, have you heard Bilal making an announcement 3 times? He replied, yes. He asked, what did prevent you from bringing it? He made some excuse, to which Muhammad said, be as you are. You may bring it on the day of judgment. And let me get you back in, Red. Be as you are, you may bring on the day of judgment, for I shall not accept it from you. Okay, wait a minute. What are we talking about that he's upset about? A halter of hair. Really? That's really going to upset you. A little bit of hair that wasn't there. If this upsets Mo, their prophet, is he going to be considered peaceful at all? Absolutely not. He's so greedy, he's upset about missing out on some hair. You got to start laughing here. This is their prophet, and he's supposed to be peaceful, according to some. I'm reading a book right now by a friend of mine, and he's going at a liberal or a pretend liberal Muslim, and this pretend liberal Muslim is saying Islam is peaceful. Well, she wouldn't do too well here. She hasn't read this information, or she doesn't want anybody to know this information. I'll be sharing that book and hopefully have him on to talk about his book in the near future, because it has everything to do with the misinformation getting out there. All right, let's keep going. Now, if you notice the date here, July 31st, 2015. And this is by Nina Shea, the Islamic State's Christian and Yazidi sex slaves. So when ISIS took over, the Islamic State took over, what did they do? Let's read some of her article. Unlike Muslims who can conform and wait out ISIS until the day it's defeated, Christians, along with polytheist Yazidis, can don veils and give up cigarettes and alcohol, but as non-Muslims, their very presence is an intolerable offense to the year-old caliphate. These minority religious groups in Iraq and Syria, lacking protecting armies or militias of their own, find themselves in unique peril. During his Bolivian trip this month, Pope Francis called it a genocide. ISIS demands nothing less than the conversion of all Christians and Yazidis to Islam under penalty of death for men and enslavement for women and children. Another frequently cited option for Christians, people of the book, these would be Christians and Jews, the payment of Jizya is a ruse for the taxes raised until it becomes unpayable and property and lives are taken after all. Hence, last summer, Mosul's bishops chose exile from their communities rather than attend an ISIS meeting to learn of its jizya terms. So let's be honest here. They chose to run. They didn't choose exile. They chose to run, to hide, to disappear in the middle of the night, right? Because they were going to be killed for not paying the jizya. They didn't choose exile. They chose to run and hide to be safe. They don't know what the payment would have been. It could have been raised. And if you don't pay, they take your women, your children, or your life. They may take one, they may take the other. You have a woman, you have a wife, they may take her. You have a daughter, they may take both. You have sons, they may take them. That's the point of this. Let's continue. The beheadings, crucifixions, and other means ISIS uses to slaughter unarmed Christians and Yazidi men, from priests and bishops to destitute migrant workers, have been proudly displayed by the ultra-violent group on social media and have drawn condemnations worldwide. But the Islamic State's revival of the institution of chattel slavery, this is sex slavery, of Christian Yazidi women and girls, no less. Notice the girls here. Let's say it point blank. This is a reference to prepubescent girls being prostituted. Yeah. Let's continue. This article goes on. Over the past decade, now remember this is 2015 this was written. It says over the past decades, thousands of Iraqi and Syrian Christians, including in 2013, entire convent of Syrian Orthodox nuns have been taken captive for ransom. Another acceptable income stream for Muslims, according to Shariah. And this August 2014, shortly after ISIS established its caliphate, it began something new. After capturing non-Sunni women and girls, ISIS began awarding and selling them as sex slaves. The vast majority were Yazidis, but some, according to the United Nations reports, were Christians. Now, you can go to hudson.org, National Security Defense, and find this article. It's still there. It's pretty powerful. So if you think what I'm sharing is made up, go find out. Do your own research. I'm going to share another article. Let me get this back up here, and here we go. To stop sharing for a second. Here we go. The joy of doing many different things. I found this article quite interesting. This is from telegraphy.com. And it's 10 years old. That means it's from 2015. Quite bluntly, it says it looks perverse. It even sounds like a joke. No, these are ISIS sex slave prices. 2015. Little girls between 1 and 9 years bring 134 euros. Elderly women are not even half of this value. This sounds like something perverted. It might even sound like a joke, but no. It is the reality in a captive market of the terrorist group ISIS. Who was buying them? That's probably the better question. Why were they so cheap? Maybe that's an answer you don't want to know, the question you don't know the answer to. Blue and green eyes seem to have been more sought, and it's also clear new one's still beautiful. If she's 15, says one, then we have to watch them carefully and check their teeth. Talking about slaves, people. Sex slaves. For ISIS, religious minority women have no value. According to their point of view, they can do whatever they want to women, says terrorism expert Professor Peter Newman from King's College London. This unbelievable position is also confirmed by those in Islam. Each of them, they emphasize several times, is free to do with his slave what he wants. I swear I'm looking for a girl. I hope he finds one, says one of the terrorists. More about the prices reveals an article on the news website Iraqi News, in which a supposedly official document of the Islamic State is shown, which was cited by the German media. The price of slaves clearly marked on it. Yeah. Let's see if I can get these. No, it's not working. According to the document, these are the prices of sex slaves offered by the jihadis. The price for Yazidi and Christian women between 40 and 50 years, 50 Iraqi dinars, or not even enough to count a whole euro. Think about that. Price of Yazidi and Christian women between 30 and 40 years old, 75 Iraqi dinars, not even a whole euro. The price for Yazidi and Christian women between 20 and 30 years old, 100,000 Iraqi dinars. That's 66 euros. Price of Yazidi and Christian women between 10 and 20 years old, 150 Iraqi dinars. Again, not enough to be considered a whole euro. Price for Yazidi and Christian women between the ages of 1 and 9, around 200,000 Iraqi dinars. That's 134 euros. Are you catching where they think the most important, the most valuable girls are? These are the prepubescent girls that are of the age of marrying, between 1 and 9. Yeah. Disgusting. Hard to believe. But that's the reality we're facing. I wish what I'm sharing wasn't true. I wish. All right, we're going to continue. 11.0. Non-Muslim subject of the Islamic State, al-Dima. I think it's incredibly important. This is the translation that they gave. All right. Google Translate calls it people of the covenant. Do you want to know what school textbooks use the term dhimmi? And you know what they say? It means protected person. No, it doesn't. This is a formal agreement of protection is made when you sign for al-Dima. Really, Are they protected people? Who are they protected from? Okay, the only ones allowed this are Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, Sumerians, and Sabians, if their religions do not respectively contradict the fundamental basis of Judaism and Christianity, and those who adhere to the religion of Abraham or one of the other prophets. Listen closely. As simple as it gets in Google Translate. The covenant is binding on Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, those who converted to the religion of the Jews and Christians. Oh, who's not there? Before it was abrogated and changed. Wait a minute. Before it was abrogated? Was Christianity abrogated? No. This is interesting. And on the Samaritans and Sabians, if they agreed with them in the basics of their religion, and on those who adhered to the religion of Abraham or any other of the prophets. Oh. So what happens to everybody else? They can't pay jizya. They can't become dhimmis. They must be executed. This is important to understand. That's what this is telling the Muslims who are jihadis. The atheists cannot become dhimmis, according to this. The Buddhists, the Hindus, cannot become dhimmis. And later on in years, the reality is they did become dhimmis because the Muslims got tired of killing them. There were so many. They begged and pleaded until they got permission to stop killing them. Yeah. Let's keep going. 11.2. Such an agreement may not be effected with those who are idol worshippers, or those who do not have a sacred book, or something that could have been a book. Notice this, something that could have been a book. They're saying this refers to those like Zoroastrians who have remnants resembling an ancient book. As for the pseudo-scriptures of cults have appeared since Islam, such as the Sikhs, Baha'is, Mormons, yeah, they neither are nor could be a book, since the Qur'an is the final revelation. So if it didn't exist by then, yeah, we have a problem here. Because Islam came along after the Hindus came along, and the Hindus had some books. The Buddhists had some books, but they still killed them until they got a great slaughter, to the point where they couldn't handle it anymore. 11.3. Such an agreement is only valid when the subject people follow the rules of Islam. Now, we're going to give you those rules, but start paying attention. Those mentioned below and those involving public behavior, dress. We're going to tell you how you can dress if you're a dhimmi. They're going to tell you what you can wear, how you can wear it, and what color it must be. Depends on the area. Notice it says the subject communities have their own laws, judges and courts enforcing the rules of their own religion among themselves. Okay, you can have your own stuff like this, right? Look over here on the right. What is meant by semblance of a book is something like the Magians, or they have remnants that resemble an ancient book. Okay, as for the false books, sects that appeared after Islam, all right, come down here. It's not valid. This 11.3. It is not valid under two conditions: adherence to the rulings of Islam, paying jizya. You don't have an agreement. See how simple this is? You don't have a dhimmi agreement unless you adhere to the rulings of Islam and pay the jizya, which means you're going to die if you don't pay the jizya. If you don't obey those in power that are Muslims, you're going to die. That's what this says. 11.3. There's no contract with you. That's the statement. This is extortion. You're only allowed to live if you pay this. Extortion. Who are you getting protected from? The Muslims. You're paying the jizya so you don't get killed. That's in their rules that they expect you to follow. It's one of the reasons why some of the preachers in England have been calling welfare the jizya. Now, I wonder if they will dare to do that here. So, jizya on dhimmis to Islam. Let's take a look. And I'm going to share that real quick. Let's stop the screen. We'll come back to it. Some of these things when I found these articles, and I think, oh my gosh, we just have to share them. They're so shocking. Let's find out what the Islamic State said about these things. Let me raise this a little bit higher. Okay. This is from Reuters. Notice the year, 2014. All right. Convert, pay tax, or die. Islamic State warns Christians. This was in Baghdad. Islamic insurgents have issued an ultimatum to northern Iraq's dwindling Christian population to either convert to Islam, pay a religious tax, the jizya, okay, let's call it what it is, or face death. If you don't pay the tax, you face death. This was in 2014. Do you think it's not valid today? It is. If you're in an Islamic-controlled area, think about this. That's what they're saying. The statement was issued by the Islamic State, the Al-Qaeda offshoot, which led the last month's lightning assault to capture swaths of northern Iraq. This was what the Al-Qaeda wanted. Islamic State was a fulfillment as part of Al-Qaeda's plan. They established a caliphate. That was part of their 10-year plan. And who created the Al-Qaeda group? The Muslim Brotherhood. So Muslim Brotherhood creates Al-Qaeda, which creates the Islamic State. Oh, did you know you can buy a book that refers to the Islamic State centuries before it existed in modern times? Why? Because they considered the state run by a caliph an Islamic State. So what happened? Who was in charge of the Ottoman Empire? The Ottoman Empire was considered an Islamic state. Here it says, it is said Christians who want to remain in the caliphate that the Islamic State declared this month that parts of Iraq and Syria must agree to abide by terms of the dhimmi contract. So you must agree that Muslims are in charge. You have to obey everything they tell you and pay the jizya, the extortion money, to be allowed to live another year. It says it here, if they refuse, they will have nothing but the sword. Isn't that what we just read? That's the point I'm trying to make. This is modern times reflecting the exact same thing that we're finding reading Shariah. So has things changed? No. How about this one? This is from November 22nd, 2022. We'll share this one. And let me just get this one up. And I'm not making this stuff up. That's my underlying point. I want you to understand, I am not making this stuff up. This is so real. It is shocking. And it's so present day. We need to pay attention. And we're not. That's the scary part. Okay, November 22nd, 2022. As part of its mission to establish a caliphate, the Islamic State Mozambique terror group has demanded that all Christians and Jews convert to Islam or pay a tax, the jizya, if they do not want to be slaughtered, and has declared an endless war on the Mozambican army, according to the report. Again, this is 3 years ago. The document we're reading is Shariah. That's hundreds of years ago. And these rules are still enforced today. Why? Why do people not believe this? I can't grasp why they don't believe this. I have friends that did great mission work in Mozambique. And because I was paying attention to all this, one of them had to come home as a Christian missionary. He had to come home. He was not happy with me. Not happy with the church begging him to come home. But his life is here today. He's not one of those sacrificed because he didn't pay jizya. So I feel better about it. Pay tax or accept an endless war. Submit, pay tax, or accept an endless war. That is the rule with this. Again, that's from 2022. Yes, it's in Mozambique. They're still following the same game plan. Catch on, people. This is nothing new. It's old. It's the stuff I've been trying to teach about Shariah. Nothing unusual about it, although I might wish it. Let's go back and read Hadiths, hundreds of years old. This is from Mishkat al-Masabi. It's on retaliation. Abu Darda reported God's messenger as saying, "He who gets land on which tax is due." Now, you need to understand there's something called Kharaj, and there's a difference on a land tax and jizya. They're going to define that here. And sadly, a lot of people don't see the difference. And I'm just noticing we got a little bit of light here. So hold on a second. See if I can deal with some of that. Oh, joy of joys. Okay. Takes on an infidel's loneliness. He who takes on an infidel's loneliness from his neck and puts it on his own has turned his back on Islam. Abu Dawood transmitted it. 1. The word for tax here is jizya. Eventually, a distinction was made between jizya and kharaj, the former being used for poll tax. Really? This kind of poll tax is a count. So that person owes us money. This person owes us money. Owes. Okay. If they don't pay, what are we going to do? Yeah. The responsibility in paying his tax for him. If they don't pay the tax, they get executed. It's that simple. Where does this come from? Engage, Quran 9:29. Engage in war for those who do not believe in Allah, nor in the last days, nor forbid what Allah and his messenger forbid, nor believe in the religion of the truth among who do they, what do they consider the religion of truth? This is their belief that Islam is the religion of truth among those who have been given the book until they pay the jizya out of hand and they are subdued. Wait, they have to pay the jizya and submit in order to be allowed to live. They have to pay they have to pay the extortion money, which is the jizya. Yeah. I'm not making this up. It's here. I'm not doing hate speech. I'm quoting their words. Notice this phrase, non-Muslim poll tax. Quite literally, it says jizya. Jizya is not a poll tax. It's described that way. And again, they wrote the minimum non-Muslim poll tax is 1 dinar. Okay, in English, from the Google Translate. The minimum is 1 dinar from each person. Does it say anything about poll tax? No. The minimum is 1 dinar from each person, and the maximum is what they agree upon. Really, you're going to agree to taxation in such a great manner. This is insane. You're going to agree to pay more? Or are you going to agree to pay more under threat? That's why you have to understand this is extortion money. Jizya is extortion money. You're allowed to live. Oh, it's collected with leniency and politeness. It is taken from them gently, like all other debts. You know how they took jizya when it was paid? You had to get down on your knees. This is being considered gentle. I mean, there are documents and documents and documents on how jizya was paid. The person paying jizya had to get down on their knees. Didn't matter how old they were. And as they paid the jizya, they were struck on the back of the neck. Not lightly, hard. So they would think about a sword being at their neck. Because this is what was paid to allow them to live. It says, it is not taken from a woman, a boy, a madman, or a slave. Well, if you don't pay enough, they take your woman. You don't pay enough, they take your boy. You don't pay enough, they take the madman. You don't pay enough, they take your slave. These are probably not Jews or Christians if they have slaves. Abu Taiba. I'm sorry, from Sahih Bukhari. Abu Taiba cupped Allah's apostle, so he ordered that he be paid 1 sa of dates in order his masters to reduce his tax, as he was a slave and had to pay tax to them. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Tax. His tax. Jizya. Wait a minute. I thought slaves didn't have to pay jizya. Yes, they do. So, yes. Think about it. This is their claim. Enough to make you think. Let's keep going. Jami al-Tirmidhi, book on military expeditions. I was a scribe for Jaz bin Muawiyah at Mandahir when Umar's letters came to us saying, inspect the Zoroastrians around you to take the jizya from them. For indeed, Abdur Rahman bin Awl informed me that the messenger of Allah took the jizya from the Zoroastrians of Hajar. It says, one guy said that hadith is Hassan, but they have graded it Sahih. Interesting, huh? Let's keep going. 11.5. Such non-Muslim subjects are obliged to comply with Islamic rules that pertain to the safety and indemnity of life, reputation, and property. In addition, they are penalized for committing adultery or theft, though not for drunkenness. Are distinguished from Muslims in dress, wearing a wide cloth belt. They call it a zunar. Now, I have to go find my book by Bat Yaor. She actually records several type things like this, and it's quite shocking how they would force non-Muslims to dress, or how they would force Jews or Christians to dress because they're dhimmis. They have to stand out. They have to look horrible. They have to be humiliated. That's the goal of dhimmitude. To humiliate you so much that your children are asking, "Don't you have any guts? Aren't you a man? Do you have any manhood in you?" This is the point. They want, if you have children, they want your children to question your humanity. Think about all these things. If you had a child and they watched you do these things, you wear the stuff and look funny, and you get laughed at every time you're seen. Are not greeted with assalamu alaikum. Okay, keep that in mind. Must keep to the side of the street. May not build higher than or as high as the Muslim buildings, though if they require a tall house, it's not torn down. Are forbidden to openly display wine or pork. What's happening in France, Denmark, Sweden, England, all these European countries, Germany? That's what's happening in Germany. That's what's happening across Europe. And it's happening in places here in the United States and in Canada. The Muslims get upset. You're serving pork. Oh, it's horrible. They try to shut you down. They force grocery stores to now carry halal food. Why? I mean, start thinking about these things. If you're a dhimmi, you're forbidden to openly display the wine or pork, right? Oh, or to ring church bells. Display crosses. Recite the Torah or the gospel out loud. Or make public displays of their funerals or feast days. So when they start outlawing Easter, or as many Christians call it, Resurrection Sunday, or Christmas, who's winning here? Is it the atheists or the Muslims? Or is it both? Because the atheists are okay with Ramadan. Start asking these important questions. Let's take a look what it said in the Google Translate. They are bound by our laws regarding protection of life, honor, and wealth. So who's protected here? They are punished for adultery and theft, not for drunkenness. Really? You want me to believe they're not going to punish them? They are distinguished by their clothing and belts. Again, the goal here was to humiliate. A bell is worn around their necks in the bathhouse. Did you see anything here about a bell being worn around their... No, okay. So you're supposed to announce your gathering by a bell or being around your neck. Wow. They do not ride horses, but rather mules. Notice the stuff they left out over here. They do not innovate in peace. They do not create peace. They are forced to take the narrowest path. They do not build higher than the Muslims, nor are they equal to them. If they own a high house, it will not be demolished. They are prevented from displaying wine, pork, and a bell, from reciting the Torah, the Bible, from holding funerals and festivals, and from building churches. If they were reconciled in their countries to the Jizya, were they not prevented from doing so? In Islamic countries, it's illegal to build a church. Yet they come here to our country and want to build mosques, because they know we won't say no. Will they let you build a church in their home country? No. Yet they tell us Islam means peace. I still want you to think about what would happen if your son or daughter, especially you guys out there, saw you having to dress like this and behave like this to Muslims. Would your son or daughter respect you if you continually lowered your head to them, knowing that they were representing evil, knowing you were submissive? I get that you don't have choices at times. But until we get to this point, we should be fighting. We should be fighting for the freedom we have, and we should be fighting tooth and nail to keep it. It's becoming more and more important. Canada is now pushing Islamophobia so badly that they're about to outlaw anything that offends somebody. So if a Muslim says, "Oh my gosh, you read a hadith that said Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old," well, it's your scriptures, but because you read it, I'm offended. So we read your scriptures, and it offends you, and you report us. So now you go before the Human Rights Tribunal in Canada, and they call you a hater at the tribunal, even though you read their scriptures. You found out Muhammad was a pedophile from reading their scriptures. You're found a hater, and you can't work anymore. That's this stuff. They're trying to implement the Shariah here in Canada, here in the United States, here, all over the world, wherever they go. This is an attempt all over the world. Why are we allowing this? I mean, good men and good women out there who are Christians, Jews, whatever. If you're submitting to this, stand up and say no. Show this to the pretend politicians who are bowing and giving up your rights. Don't accept it. Don't accept it. 11.6. They are forbidden to reside in the Hijaz, meaning the area and towns around Mecca, Medina, Yamama, for more than 3 days, when the Caliph allows them to enter there for something they need. Let's look really closely over here. Google Translate says they are forbidden from staying in the Hijaz, which is Mecca, Medina, Yamama, and its villages for more than 3 days if the Imam gives them permission to enter. This gets important. So non-Muslims are not allowed to enter what Muslims considered holy, unless they get special permission, and then only for 3 days. Yet they're allowed to go anywhere else in the world and spread this, what we've been reading as a desire to force all others to submit to Islam. Keep remembering this. It's here. I'm reading this right from their words. This is from Reliance the Traveler, if you don't know. This is Sharia, written in English by Islamic scholars, approved. It's got a stamp of approval from the International International Islamic Institute of Thought. Yeah, this is so bad. A non-Muslim may not enter the Meccan sacred precinct. It still kills me. It says haram, forbidden, under any circumstances, or enter any other mosque without permission. So non-Muslims can never enter a mosque without permission. Nor may Muslims enter churches without their permission. Do you think they're obeying that? I've seen quite a bit of people attacked in their churches. They're not obeying that rule against them entering churches. But they have no problem enforcing this on us. 11.8. It's obligatory for the Caliph to protect those of them who are in Muslim lands just as he would Muslims, and to seek the release of those of them who are captured. Remember, we're talking about an imam, not a caliph. Notice they use the word caliph here. That is not the word used over here on the right. The imam must protect whoever is among them in our house, just as he protects Muslims and benefits from their command. 11.9. If non-Muslim subjects of the Islamic State refuse to conform to the rules of Islam or pay the non-Muslim the Jizya, non-Muslim poll tax. It's not poll tax. It's Jizya. Then their agreement with the state has been violated. See, this just tells you it's extortion money. You're allowed to live if you pay it. Though if only one of them disobeys, it concerns him alone. If they refuse to adhere to the rules of the religion and pay the jizya, their covenant is absolutely broken. Notice this piece is missing. Only one of them disobeys. That's not there in the Arabic. They added that to make the non-Muslim feel better. If one of them breaks the rule, their covenant is absolutely broken, so they can go in and kill you all. If you are paying jizya and all of a sudden you stop, one of you stops, it's bad. This is their truths. This is what they're telling each other. In the Arabic, it's worse. This is why we have to do things like use it, Google Translate, and get expert translators to do things, to find out what they're hiding. Oh, 11.10. The agreement is also violated if the state has stipulated that any of the following things break it, and one of the subjects does so anyways. Though, if the state has not stipulated that these break the agreement, then they do not, namely, if one of the subject people commits adultery with a Muslim woman or marries her. This past week, a Hindu married a Muslim woman. You know what they did to him? They killed him. So if a person under this protection conceals spies of hostile forces, they execute him. Yeah. I will say of this, it takes two to tango. Notice who's not in trouble here. Leads a Muslim away from Islam. So if you introduce them to truth about who Muhammad is or was, if he existed, if he didn't, you show them that he was a pedophile and they're offended by that. They leave Islam. The agreement is violated. You showed them truth. You violated the agreement. They can now kill you. Because you violated the agreement by paying that jizya and showing them truth. If you kill a Muslim, oh, you violated the agreement. Doesn't matter what that person did to you or to your wife or child. Or mentions something impermissible about Allah, the Prophet. Impermissible, that he's a pedophile? That's written in their scriptures. It's written in the Hadiths. It's written in the Quran that you can have sex with prepubescent girls. You can marry them and divorce them. It's in the Quran. Something impermissible? Yeah. 11.11. When a subject's agreement with the state has been violated, the caliph chooses, we're talking about the imam, chooses between the four alternatives mentioned above in connection with prisoners of war. Oh. What are we doing to the prisoners of war? Yeah. They become slaves. They get executed. Those are really the only two things that go with this. And I'm going to stop this for a second and drop out and come back in because I did not turn on my sound. And this is the joy of remembering to turn on the sound. Here we go. Come on.
We reached to the top of the nations, even in influence. All the leaders in European countries at one point were appointed by the Muslim Khalifa of the Ottoman Empire. We live in America, in the United States of America. Brothers and sisters, those who do not know history, not too long ago, USA was paying the jizya for the Ottoman Khalifa.
I don't know what planet he was on. Paying jizya. Knowing the United States back at this point in time, they probably had no clue if it was considered jizya. Did we have a deal, a trade deal? Were they paying a tariff rate? Maybe. Did they know they were paying jizya? Absolutely not. How about this one?
We reached to the...
All right, we're going to have to go on here, and then I apparently... Let's see. Two years ago.
وبالجهاد الله سبحانه وتعالى يفتح البلاد ويفتح قلوب العباد. والجهاد يعني هو الوسيلة التي بداية يدافع بها المسلمون عن بلادهم وعن أنفسهم وعن شرفهم وعن دينهم، ثم هو وسيلة لنشر هذا الدين، لأن الأصل في الأمر أن الله سبحانه وتعالى أنزل هذا الدين حتى ينتشر في بقاع الأرض وحتى ينتشر في يعني يصبح جميع الناس مسلمين. نحن لسنا يعني نريد أن نقتل الناس، ولا نريد أن نرهب الناس، ولا نريد يعني أن نغتصب أرض الناس ولا حقوقهم، وإنما نريد أن يدخل العباد في دين الله. هذه إرادة الله مش إرادتنا إحنا. عندما تخرج الجماعات للجهاد في سبيل الله أولا يدعون الناس إلى الله، إذا قبلوا هذا قمة المنى، هذا ما يريده الله سبحانه وتعالى ويريده المسلمون، ويصبحوا مسلمين لهم ما لنا وعليهم ما علينا. وإلا إما أن يدفعوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون، وإما أن يعني نقاتلهم، إما يعني أن يكون لنا الشهادة أو الظفر بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى. فالجهاد يعني هو ذروة سنام الإسلام، وهو الصفحة يعني الناصعة التي تجعل الإسلام يعني
Sorry, guys. This is the stuff we are facing. This is their love of jizya. This is their love of jihad, and that was only 2 years ago. Look at this one. This is in the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It's an address by Abu Hanifa Auda, and he's saying, "We will lay siege to Rome and turn the White House black, impose jizya tax on London. Some Muslims are claiming it's already being done, and pray on the slopes in Rockies and Andes." This is their claim. This is what they are saying. They want to implement these Sharia all over the world. This is their claim.
نعم يا أهل بيت المقدس، هنا عقر الدار، هنا دار البيعة، هنا ستصطفق رايات الخلافة، هنا ستجتمع الأرتال العسكرية، هنا ستجتمع الكتائب، تعلوها الألوية والرايات، مؤذنة بميلاد فجر جديد، بميلاد عدل جديد، بميلاد دولة ربانية، خلافة راشدة ثانية على منهاج النبوة. هنا ستطبخ السياسة، من هنا ستتحرك الجيوش لفتح العالم. جيش الإسلام العرمرم بكتائبه الشتى، كتيبة تحرر فلسطين، وأخرى تجوس خلال الديار، وثالثة تتبر ما علوا تتبيرا، ورابعة تثأر من بشار وروسيا، وخامسة تحرر كل بلاد المسلمين المغتصبة، وسادسة تجوب عباب البحر تهزأ بالعدو، وسابعة تحاصر روميا، وثامنة تجلل البيت الأبيض بالسواد، وتاسعة تضرب الجزية على لندن، وعاشرة تصلي صلاة الخوف على سفوح الرك والأنديز.
This is it, people. This is their claims about Sharia. They're planning to implement it here. These are the people. This is the Hamas mosque that they were saying this in. And you think about all those Hamas supporters who are here in the United States that were supporting all these actions. Before I forget, let me just say, if you want to support what I'm doing, buy my books on Amazon. Here's a few of them. Share them out, get bookstores to take them. This is the other 4 that just came out. This is the way to support me. I'm not taking donations other than this. I'm not sure how I feel about taking donations at this point. I'd rather, sell my wares type thing. I'm not taking payments. I'm not taking anything except for an exchange of goods. What I'm giving you is free information. And it's all open source information, which means it's already out there. It's free for you to access. So now you should be asking yourself, if all this information is out there, why are those departments like the State Department here in the United States not doing their job? Why is Germany not defending the Germans? Why is England not defending the English? Why is Sweden not defending the Swedes? Denmark not defending the Danes? I can go on and on and on. And this just frustrates the crap out of me. My family heritage is English. I look at what they did to the grooming gang, allowing them to be free for so many years. It angers me to think that someone who may be related to me didn't protect their children from these people. In the States, you can get, what do I mean by these people? The people who want to force Sharia on us. That's my problem. When you read Sharia and you're willing to accept it to be enforced on you, you have to wonder where the light bulbs are, because they're not going on your head. Because even Muslims hate it to the point where they kick out those who implement it. You think I'm lying? Look what happened to Iraq and Syria. Look what happened to Egypt. Yeah, al-Sisi came in and kicked out Morsi, the Muslim Brotherhood operative that had implemented Sharia in Egypt. ISIS is not in charge in Iraq and Syria. So the Muslims hate Sharia just as much. Sadly, the truth is they suffer more than us. And they just don't know it. That's the sad, sorry truth. Start looking at what Sharia requires. Don't take my word for it. Spend your time doing your own research. If you think I'm crazy, please do your own research. I spend a few hours each week preparing for this show. My goal is to get the truth out. That's it. I wish I could get more people to understand what's going on. I'm scared that our so-called experts in the FBI, the CIA, and all these nice little alphabet soup agencies have no clue, because they are willingly ignorant. And I truly mean willingly. They're afraid to look at the facts. They're afraid to do their own research because they might be called haters. Well, if you do your own research and you discover truth, don't you have a duty to share it? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Don't you see this as the opposite of what Jesus wanted? Jesus wanted love. He wanted Christians to be examples of love. And the people who are called Christians today, during the time of Christ, and even there quickly after, never called themselves Christians. They called themselves disciples of Christ. They were students of his love, students of his mercy and grace. They gave everything. Many of them died to teach us about love. The total opposite of Islam. Do you dare to share this information? Do you dare to ask me or someone else to come out and speak to your group? I'm willing. I'm willing to go. It's time, people. Get this truth out. Call people like me, call people like Usama Dakdak and others to get the truth out to everybody. It's time not to be silent, because this is what is wanted. This is what's been allowed on our college campuses to run rampant with misinformation. Do you really want your children to be treated as booty? Do you want them to have to pay jizya? I don't want that for my grandchildren. I don't want it for my children or their children or their children. Think about this. If we remain silent, we allow evil to take over. We can't do this. We have to fight. Fight on, my friends. Fight on. Don't give up. Become the daring ones to share the truth. I dare you in that respect, and I beg of you to share this video and the last one with your local congressmen and politicians. I challenge you. Be daring. Get this done. God bless everybody. Thank you.